Well, good morning. I think it's afternoon. Just getting ready for doing some work. Before I start though, there were some people kind of wondering about forgiveness and what it really means to forgive and why it's a really hard process to do. I think for the most part, to understand that process even better is to understand what forgiveness really means. I questioned it myself. I am no stranger to things happening in my life where a person had done me wrong and really hurt me to a point to where it's like you even question, is this even forgivable? But I will tell you, anything is. Anything is. Doesn't matter what it is. Anything is forgivable if you truly understand what is required to forgive. And it's not a process that happens overnight. It happens in increments, in introspection as we go on throughout life. You're always going to be feeling things come up whenever you see the person around that you have feelings of resentment towards. And when that occurs, that's telling you there's something in you need to look more closer and deeper at that you're not healing right now. Because it might not just be the action that they did. It could be your own perception, your own way of belief, your own type of conditions for how you believe people need to treat you and others. But the truth is, in life, we cannot control how other people view us, think about us, interact with us. We cannot control that because that's their life path, their own way of learning things about themselves and what they've done to others. You know, some people, they'll go through epiphanies that are just as painful. You know, like, why did I do this to that person that doesn't even, deserve it? And sometimes as a way of avoiding and denying that they need to take ownership over something, they'll just stay stuck in their ways. And sometimes when we see those people still doing those things, we can turn very angry at them. When we're always observing what they're doing, sometimes we can become even more judgmental of people that are just like them. But the truth is, people do not turn that way all the same. It all depends on the person's life path, what they've encountered. There's even good people who turn negative because of being betrayed too much. And that's what we need to get into, this consciousness and knowing that we can turn that way. We need to start asking ourselves, why is it so hard for me to forgive this person? Why do I feel so angry or upset still to this day for whatever they did? Forgiveness. When you give of yourself, are there things that you expect in return for what you give? And are you aware that really you can't make expectations of people? because the expectation part is what is going to drive you to feel disheartened when they don't meet that expectation. So this is when we have to learn to teach ourselves to learn to love unconditionally. And by loving unconditionally, it doesn't mean that you condone what they do. It just means that you understand that that's their life path, that's their personality that they agreed to have, that they chose, to function with throughout life. And that is not a part of us, because we see clearly what things are, with a logical approach. We see our emotions and everything as only being temporary, and that not having the power to dictate our full future or destiny in life. What we were meant to have, what we deserve, So when we live in that, walk in that type of pathway, it's a little bit easier to understand people to where you don't really feel a need to get mad at them for whatever they do, because honestly, you just hope the best for people. That's really all you can do, and do the best for yourself, without hurting others in the process. So to forgive, honestly, the way I see it is by way of giving the opportunity for something to change, something to be let go of. That's a part of what letting go means, is to give away for something to exit or enter into your life. So you're providing a way by not allowing any blockages of that entryway or exit way. When you place a block there, you're not allowing whatever it is that you're stuck holding resentment towards to have a way to exit out the door and not come back and bother you. Or you're not allowing a person who wants forgiveness from you to enter the door, so that way they can come through with clarity on why they did what they did and apologize to you and ask for your forgiveness, so that way they can continue on in their life. This leads to a lot of unresolved things when you don't allow that door, that forgiving way of something to come in or exit out. And this is what creates a lot of pent-up energy that is unwanted. This creates a lot of toxicity for not having things resolved. This creates a lot of karma in our life for being closed off, for being very critical of other people without giving them a positive, fair chance to explain themselves, or fair way of going about a healing process. Sometimes when a person will not forgive you, though, it's a way of understanding that in life you're going to face things that you may do and how it affects people and how it can create a sense of like a karmic type of energy. And that allows you to say, hey, I need to be more careful next time around in this experience and how I treat other people, because I may not get another chance to make things right, like this situation here. So sometimes you come in contact with people who are generous enough to forgive you, and that's a blessing in itself, and you should not take that lightly. That way you can have a release from that. You can work on the relationship again, or you can just say, okay, I let everything go now. Now I can move on. It brings people into stagnation when you do not face certain unresolved issues. It does create stagnation. And that's one of the things that is a bit of an inconvenience, because people, they need to know things in order to move on. They need to know what happened and this and that. And sometimes when that stagnation just kind of leaves you in a place where there is nothing you can do to try to heal this wound of unforgiveness or resentment, sometimes there's nothing you can do but to go within yourself, not expect anything from them, but expect from yourself. And say, hey, like, maybe I'm coming at this place of ego. Maybe I'm holding on to these things because I feel so much conviction for what they did. Maybe I have something within myself that I need to learn to control, learn to make peace with within myself. Because that sometimes is a part of your actual journey. Not receiving any closure on things is also a learning experience in disguise. It's also a blessing in disguise, because then it allows you to go over what is there in your intellect, in your spiritual development, your acknowledgement of the human condition that you're not fully getting. That's why you can't let this situation go. It allows us to see things in that sense. So no matter what, we should always see that first. And just send whoever it is that done us wrong positive energy and hope they get through whatever it is that they're going through in their life to make them be this way. Pray for their empathy, pray for them to see things in a better light, their actions, how they treat people. That's all we can really do. If we cannot talk to them face to face about, how their actions affected us. It's you have to understand too, like, what we do spiritually, it's very important. You can even forgive people on the spiritual level. The spirit is consciousness always moving back and forth between this life here on earth and other realms of existence. We do come in contact with people on the spiritual level. So you have to think of it that way too. The spirituality of forgiving and letting go, that does make a difference in other areas where you may not see it. Because a lot of times we just associate how we feel with our surroundings, how we feel, I get that too, because like, say for example, like myself, I have PTSD. So like if I go to a certain area, where bad shit happened, it's like that thing plays in my head. It plays with my head. When I see a certain object, it'll make me remember that bad experience, and I'll feel like I'm still there and the emotions will come back up. So it's like I have to tell myself, you're not there anymore. True, maybe that place may have that that residual energy still there with it, but you let that go. You're already moving on and doing work on yourself. So that thing is not a part of you anymore. You can even go there and try to face that energy and transform it into something more positive. So that's what I do. I go there and I face it, and then I make more of a brave, positive approach in transforming the energy that was there into something positive, like a positive experience. So it's like facing things head on, so that way I can have relief when I'm around that area or around those people, because like I come to understand that energy is a separation. It's not who I am as a person. Just like they say, our mistakes don't make us who we are. Mistakes are just learning. It's just learning how to maneuver throughout life based on the experience of it and the introspection we gain from it. So, it made it a lot easier for me to forgive certain people for things they did, in my life. When we don't forgive, we play a victim mentality. There are no victims. At the end of the day, there are no victims, because everybody has a choice to either use that situation and move forward in strength and in courage, or just sit there and wallow in it. So every day we're faced with choices. And, myself, I choose not to wallow. I'm human like everybody else. I have my days where I feel like, oh, I just need to take a break. I'm not feeling good today. So I give myself that time. But the thing is to give yourself time, but do not sit there and stay in that for too long, because that is what can build up so much pain, grief, sorrow, and it plays with your mental state as well. Making you think you can't go on, making you think it's impossible to change, a situation. Change comes with you. It starts with you. First and foremost, above everything else, it starts with you. How you choose to act on it, how you choose, to take a situation and make it your own instead of allowing a person to dictate it.